Hey guys, welcome back. If you are a long-time subscriber, thanks for coming back. And if you're new, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I actually had a lot of fun doing this project, and it's been about a month and a half, almost 2 months since I've done the project. And I really love what it still looks like and how it's wearing and all of that. So if you haven't figured it out by the title, I refinished my table. So my dining room table was gifted to us. It was an heirloom in the family, and it fits perfectly in our space, and I really love just the sturdiness of it. It is a really good table. However, through years and years of use and my children destroying it, it just looked really bad. And so there were watermarks all over it, and you'll see that in the video. But I didn't want to get rid of it. So I also come from this kind of mindset for our house that if I can repurpose it, I will repurpose it and use it until the thing like can't be fixed or used any longer. And that's when we'll get rid of it, or when we don't have a use. Kind of goes back to that minimalism type of idea and not wasting what we have and just being wise with our money. And so I felt like this was one of those things where I just emotionally I couldn't even part with it, but it needed some help. I'm not someone who knows how to refinish in the means of like sanding down, staining, and all of those steps. That felt really daunting to me, especially for such an important piece in our house. So I didn't go that route. Plus, I'm also kind of moving our decor in a different direction. And so, as you can see here in the before and afters, I went from a dark wood to a white. I used Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and then I used a polycrylic coat on top, and you'll see how I did that later. So I also, because white with 4 kids is not necessarily the smartest idea unless you distress it. So my table already looks beat up. I kept the like fork marks and stab marks and everything in it from my kids. And then the white I distressed out a bit so that when, not if, but when my kids actually like destroy it, it won't look like my new table is totally ruined. So, how I've cared for it and cleaned it, so I use just my Norex rags and I don't use any cleaner. The only time I've used a cleaner on it is I've used their cleaning paste when there is, so for art, because we homeschool, which if you're wanting a little explanation of that, I'll leave that in the description in the iCard here. My daughter sometimes will forget to put stuff under her paints, and so her temper paints will stain the finish of the table, so they don't have to use that cleaning paste to rub to get like a good deep down scrub. But that's essentially all I've been using on it, and it's holding up really, really well. I really don't have any complaints for it. I mean, I know I'm only 2 months out, but my kids destroy our table on a regular basis, and it's just been holding up really well. So on to the video, and I will explain how I did everything.
So as you can see, I kind of start out a little nervous, and I start with very little chalk paint because I've never used it, and so I didn't know how it would really interact with the wood or what it would do. So I realized that it kind of didn't matter, and I just kind of started slapping it on and getting it on quickly because it does dry kind of quickly, and it is a thicker paint, so I found working quick worked better with it. Plus, I knew I would be distressing this and adding multiple layers, so it didn't need to look perfect when I put it on, especially the first coat. So as you can see, it looks kind of streaky, and you can see the brown. So I ended up adding 3 coats onto it. Or no, sorry, just 2. The 2 coats seem to work really well and cover the brown enough. And so then after I got it all painted to the depth that I like, that was when I started sanding on the chalk paint, which you can see. The table already has some nicks and dents to it, which you can see here. I'm pointing in it from my kids stabbing it with their forks, and all those wonderful things kids think are great ideas. So I use those natural areas of distressing to just add some more distressing to it, like you can see here, so that the thought is that when my kids would do things to the table, it wouldn't be so stark. Like, it wouldn't be like, oh wow, look at this nice white table, and now there's this huge scratch on it, because I will have already distressed the table like I am here. I'm just using a sanding block, a extra fine sanding block here to do the entire table, and I just picked random spots around the table, on the tops, on the sides, on the legs, just so that when you looked at it close, it looked distressed, and then as you looked far away, you could see the distressing. There is no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here. It is just all by sight, and however I think will look good with the things that are already there. Obviously, I'm going to distress areas like the corners, areas that would naturally get distressed anyway. So as you can see here, I have done some of the corners. But yeah, you can kind of just do it however you like.
Okay, so I'm not really sure what happened to this clip. I thought I recorded me doing the polycrylic coat on the table, but I can't find it. So I'm just gonna explain what I did here. So after I kind of sanded down everything, wiped everything down, I then went in with my polycrylic coat. So I did a polycrylic coat. Coat on the tops and side, like everywhere I painted. And you'll see here in this area that when I did that, some yellow started to pool from the wood. And I don't mind like yellow tinges throughout it. It gives it that weathered and old look, but it was really, really drastic. So what I thought was, since it was sealed with the polycrylic in these areas, I would go back over it with my white chalk paint and then seal it again with the polycrylic. And that really, really helped. Everywhere else I did 2 coats, and then on the very top I did 3. And in between each coat of polycrylic, I did sand it and wipe it down and then do the polycrylic coat. I used really cheapy brushes and just let it sit. So I think I let it sit, looked at the directions, I can't remember with my polycrylic, but I think I left it sit for like 3 hours, I think, and then would sand it and then do the next coat. And then after I did the last coat on the top, which was the 3 coats on the table, I let it sit overnight before I used it. I gave it 24 hours to cure before we used it. So, but that's pretty much it. Here's some before and afters, and I hope you like the project. Okay guys, that's the video. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. All the things, comment below if you're feeling brave enough to do this on your own, or if you have any questions for me. I am more than willing to talk about it. I've really been refinishing a lot of our projects or our furniture around the house, and even just like things in general. So if you want to see more videos like that, let me know. I use lots of Dollar Tree stuff also for kind of the decorish type things. So if those are things that you're interested in seeing on my channel, let me know in a comment below. I would love to expand on this aspect of my life. I'm way more crafty than I ever thought. My mom was crafty growing up, and I didn't consider myself super crafty, but I've really been loving it lately. It's a really nice outlet for me. So, all right, well, make sure you subscribe, share, like, comment, all those things that help my channel. I would love it. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.